Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe in Lagos.
Always a delight to have you join us to talk sports in London. Austin Okonakpan, big night right there in Qatar, in the FIFA World Cup. Cecilia, it seems the powerhouses in that group, Spain and Germany, might just make it to the round of 16.
That's what it's looking like because at halftime, both teams are actually leading by a lone goal. As expected, you expect Germany and, of course, Spain to get out of that group. So Germany want to avoid what happened in 2018 when they needed to beat South Korea. They lost to South Korea and they were out of the tournament. So they don't want to repeat that mistake again. As I said, Gnabry, 10 minutes into the game, he scored that goal for Spain. Alvaro Morata scoring his 29th goal for Spain as an international player. That's what it's looking like in that particular group. So earlier, of course, Morocco put on the toughest one. We'll talk about the FIFA World Cup much later. But then we're going to start off with the National Sport Festival, of course. The opening ceremony was yesterday, and it was a fantastic showing coming from Delta State, where you have different states across the federation, 36 states, of course, including the Federal Capital Territory, all of them coming out and, of course, representing their state. All the athletes, close to 12,000 athletes will be taking part. Remember in Edo 2020, we just had about 8,000 athletes because of COVID-19. Of course, they needed to cut it down. But right now, no COVID and precautions are not being taken because at least the world is actually a better place thanks to the vaccine that's actually on. And at the end of the day, it was a fantastic one for Delta State being able to pull off this particular hosting. And Austin, when we were looking at the facilities and everything that was going on, we're skeptical, will this happen, will it not happen? But, well, Delta State had to pull this off. And, of course, on the 30th, they had that opening ceremony. Fantastic celebrations they had right there in Delta State.
That's right, Cecilia. I followed live proceedings in Asaba for the opening ceremony. Look, they needed to do what they had to do. It was the opening ceremony and they needed to put color. And when Delta State, came out, as you can see right there, they actually gave us the vibes we're expecting. Governor Okowa showed some dancing skills, everyone excited. It was good to see para-athletes also part of this fun. It was a good one, so opening ceremony done. We've seen all of the pomp. Now it's time for the main action.
Yes.
And that's when we'll start assessing Delta State because we'll start seeing the facilities. Athletes will start competing and also talking about what they think about the infrastructure right there in Asaba. So it's a good one. I love the fact that they gave us a good opening ceremony, one that we will always talk about because I could see a lot of fun and excitement. Our world of sports, there's so much fun, So that is done. Time for the action.
Yes. Time for action, of course. So Delta State already leading the medals table, courtesy of cycling. They are dominating that. Out of the 5 gold medals that were at stake, they've won 4 out of it. So already they are cleaning the medals as the National Sports Festival is starting. Let's take a listen to the sports minister who represented, of course, the President Muhammadu Buhari talking about the game and what the athletes need to do to ensure that when they compete fairly, and also the governor of the host state, Ifeanyi Okowa, on the opening ceremony of Delta 2022.
You symbolize the values we all cherish: ambition, discipline, dedication, diligence, focus, hard work, courage, commitment, strength, and teamwork. That you're here means you're the best of the best. Remember that many people, friends, families, schoolmates, colleagues, and even your respective state governments are cheering you on. May this realization inspire you to stay focused, aim higher, run faster, and to become the best you can be.
Tens of thousands of athletes have met in this festival and forged long-lasting bonds of friendship that have served them well throughout their lives and careers. So, although you athletes have gathered here in your thousands from different states of the Federation, under the flags of the various states, you are all under the banner of our nation, Nigeria. Though you have come here to compete, I urge you to see yourselves not just as contestants, but as compatriots and comrades.
The sports minister right there talking about how athletes can actually compete fairly. And not just that, we know National Sports Festival produced a lot of great athletes. We hope that from Delta 2022, we'll be able to see more athletes. But not just the sports minister that has been talking at the ceremony earlier today. The head of media that's talking about the Commissioner for Information of Delta State, Charles Aniago, has been talking about some events that have been going on concerning accommodation and some other things that the athletes are complaining about. He had to give updates of what's currently going on in Delta State. Let's take a listen to him, just giving us updates of what's going on concerning facilities and every other thing going on right there at Asaba.
The events are going on simultaneously as planned at different locations. The minor glitches that were witnessed, which is expected with respect to accommodation in some areas, are being seriously addressed in terms of certain facilities that individuals felt were not functioning the way they should, not that they were not in place. At a time like this, you do expect that because of the large number, you may not be able to have everything sorted out. But somehow, I think we are doing the best we could, and the event is progressing very, very smoothly. We must also appreciate our athletes who so far are displaying their talents and also savoring the love that comes from our state. As at yesterday, Delta have taken the lead, and I'm sure those of you here are already aware that as at that yesterday, as much as 3 goods was already in the kitty. And we are hoping that other contingents will compete very, very favorably. We want them to compete. We want them to make the effort to want to overtake, even if we know they will not be able to overtake. We need that kind of competition to further ginger our athletes to put in their best, because that way we will be able to break new grounds and then, of course, discover new talents.
You can hear me, right?
Right, Charles. Updates of what's currently going on at the National Sports Festival. Of course, Austin, I mean, when you listen to him, hiccups is happening, but they've been able to nip this in the bud without allowing to actually escalate. That's what they're trying to do to ensure that all athletes are competing fairly, and not just that, they have a good environment to compete in. And some athletes have been talking about the title track. They said it's actually cool, it's okay. And of course, the minister had to even watch some indoor games, for example, table tennis. And some of the athletes are saying, yes, they're loving the facilities. Well, the game just started. I will definitely bring you more updates of the National Sports Festival. Austin, so far, I mean, we've been having the stories, coming in from Delta States and everything. I mean, they just mentioned accommodation. Some athletes are complaining, but hey, they had to quickly, you know what, we can't allow this to actually overshadow the game. Let's quickly nip this in the bud and just continue with the competition.
But that's part of what we've been talking about. It should have been sorted, We shouldn't be hearing this sort of, story now that the National Sports Festival is starting. Logistics, administration, should have taken care of some of these issues that are coming up. I love the fact that the sort of conversation we want to hear is what we're hearing, particularly as regards the facilities right there at the Stephen Okechukwu Keshi Stadium. I love the fact that athletes have felt the tartan tracks and they're comfortable with what it is. And the minister watched some of the indoor games. And it's beautiful. Those are the sort of stories we want to hear. They should fix some, of those other problems so that we don't get to hear a lot of negative stories coming out of the National Sports Festival. I quickly want us to get into the FIFA World Cup drama, Cecilia.
Yes.
In that group game between Japan and Germany. Right at the start of second half, Japan leveled up 2 quick fire goals. They got a second one. VAR thought it was out of play, called for a review, and now it has been awarded. It's Japan 2, Germany won. What a story,
I mean,
Cecilia.
when Mauricio Dion scored that, I felt, okay, 1-1. Okay, this is looking dicey. Spain is going through. Japan is joining them. And Germany, of course, they should be afraid. But right now, Austin, I'm speechless. I don't really know what to say because I don't think this World Cup have actually shocked me so much that it's actually hard to predict. We'll get into the World Cup proper, of course. You know who is joining us all the way from Jordan. Hussam Salam Aman will be joining us. We'll get into the World Cup proper. Right now, it's not looking good for Germany because Japan is leading Spain. Who could have thought about that, especially with how Spain started? I mean, beating Costa Rica 7-0. And then you're expecting Spain to ride on that. And right now, okay, you know what? It's football. At the end of 90 minutes, we can actually do most of the analysis because right now...
And a rush of blood. I was even saying Germany because that goal, the way it came, I forgot that it was even Japan, Spain. I was saying Germany. So it's Japan 2, Spain 1. And the Germans, they will be saying what's going on. We'll get to see. You mentioned that Usam Salah will be joining us. He's right in Amman in Jordan. He is a football content creator. Cecilia, let's bring him into the conversation. Usam is joining us now live on the program. Usam, it's good to have you on Sports Tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you so much to Austin for the invite, of course, and big up to you guys. Great show going on tonight. Big up to you guys.
Thank you. Let's get into the World Cup, the action. Usam, what a story we're seeing at the World Cup. What has gotten you, what really got you talking in all the games that you've seen from Qatar?
I think the best thing about football is its unpredictability. And exactly what you guys were talking about just at the start, the Japan-Spain game, the Japan-Germany game, Saudi Arabia beating Argentina, just an absolutely crazy World Cup. And this is why we love football. It's unpredictable. No one should feel better than anyone. Morocco beat Belgium as well and actually topped their group as well earlier on. So it's just, this World Cup has been absolutely incredible. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. Every minute of it. It's been absolutely crazy. And this is what we like. This is why we love football. We love football because you cannot predict anything,
That's right. Before we go to my colleague in Lagos, let's talk about this Group E game going on now. Japan 2, Spain 1. If Germany fail to progress to the round of 16, it will be the second time in a row that they are not making it out of the group stage. Do you see any dramatic ending to Group E?
I do, actually. I do believe in footballing drama, and I love it. I'm here for the drama. I'm here. Football drama is what we live for, So I do see Germany actually getting knocked out, just like Belgium got knocked out earlier on. Some of the big boys getting knocked out here. It's been the World Cup of surprises in Doha, in Qatar. It's just been unbelievable. And I do see it happening. And the Japanese, they're showing the spirit, the warrior spirit, that they're always been known for, even in the Asian competitions. Every time they play, the Japanese, they never give up. And they did not give up, even though they were 1-0 down against Spain. And by the way, in the first game, they were 1-0 down against Germany as well. And they've came back twice. So I do think they will see this through, I do believe in the spirit of the Japanese warriors, if you like.
We'll see.
All right, let's quickly take a look at... Okay. All right, let's quickly take a look at, of course, what happened earlier today. We'll pause down on what's currently going on because as it stands, it seems Japan topping the group on 6 points, followed by Spain, and of course, Germany on third. So as Austin mentioned, if Japan, actually, if it ends like this, for the second time in a row, Germany, of course, will not be to the round of 16. We take a look at what happened earlier today, especially in Group F. No one could have predicted for Morocco to actually top a group where you have Croatia and Belgium. But that's what happened earlier today because Morocco needed to beat Canada or a draw for them to go through. But then ended up winning that game. And at the end of the day, it was 7 points for Morocco. Croatia on 5 points, courtesy of the goalless game against Belgium. Of course, Belgium, 4th place, 4 points. And at the end of the day, Canada, of course, came after a long time, and they are going home pointless. Hussam, quickly on this one. I mean, the game between Morocco and Canada, it wasn't the game that people were looking forward to. It was between Croatia and Belgium, because Belgium's second-ranked team in the world are out of the FIFA World Cup. Hakim Ziyech, of course, scored 4 minutes into the game. Morocco, they knew what they needed to do, and they scored that. Yusuf And Nasri, of course, scoring the second goal, 23rd minute before Naya Ardgard. It was an own goal, 40th minute, but then Morocco were already home and dry. At the end of the day, they won that, and they topped the group. Asam, when the World Cup draw was actually made, did you ever think that a team, Middle East, of course, that's here from Jordan, could have, at least looking at what we've seen right now, you have Morocco, Croatia, Belgium, Canada. Morocco being able to get into the round of 16. Topping that group ahead of teams like Croatia, who finished second in 2018. Of course, Belgium, a team who finished third.
I think earlier on as well, what we just said regarding the World Cup and its surprises, Morocco topping this group is something that not a single person would have predicted. And if they told you they predicted it, they're probably lying to you, because no one predicted that at all. The fact that Belgium were the second-ranked team in world football, getting knocked out of the group stages in a group, with all due respect, with Morocco, with Canada, and with Croatia. Croatia are an aging team as well, so many people had them actually getting knocked out of the competition. People thought Canada might surprise us, but the fact that Belgium is out has actually been a shock to many people in the footballing world. Everyone's just been shocked. How can a team like Belgium, who's ranked second in the world, get knocked out? But allow me to just say something. If this shows us anything, this shows us the fact that we must respect African football. We must respect African football and the levels that the African teams have been able to hit in this World Cup, with some shocking, amazing results, historic results as well, even with teams that got knocked out, for example, like Tunisia beating France yesterday. But Morocco topping the group has been an absolute shock. And I don't think anyone would have expected it. And Belgium getting knocked out is an even bigger shock than even Morocco topping the group. So, yeah, it was extremely unpredictable, and it makes this World Cup even 10 times more exciting than it already is.
Yeah, Coach Walid has said that they can actually dream right now. Dream to reach the sky. Reaching the sky simply means trying to win the World Cup, because he said when he took over the team in August, when the other coach was fired, he says he told them that they need to change their mentality. Think like the Europeans, play your own game. Think like the South Americans have won the World Cup. Do they stand a chance? Will last 16 be their bust-up?
You're asking about Morocco, right? Just to confirm.
Yeah, how far can Moroccan team go? Yes.
Yeah, with Morocco, I think today they proved that mentally they're switched on. And football, in my opinion, is probably 50%, 60%, even, in that range of mentality. Because they saw, for example, Saudi Arabia yesterday. They've seen teams that have beaten teams that you don't expect them to beat, and then actually lost or drawn to teams that you actually predicted them to win against. So the fact that Morocco today came out and said, we're going to learn from the experiences of these other teams. We're not going to allow Canada to sort of come out and prove a point in this World Cup against us. We're going to show that elite mentality. And the one thing that separates the Moroccans, in my opinion, in this World Cup from all the other underdogs, if you like, is the Moroccans are very stable defensively. They're a solid defensive unit. They kept a clean sheet against Croatia. They kept a clean sheet against Belgium. And actually, the first goal scored against them was an own goal as well. So, that could have been prevented. But how far can they go? I think they could beat whoever finishes second in this group. And then it's the luck on the draw. You never know what happens in other games. And we've seen crazy things previously happen in the World Cup. In 2002, Turkey reached the semi-final. No one would have expected Turkey to reach the semi-final in 2002. So I think they could get to the semi-final. But first, they must worry about their next opponent. So it all depends on what happens in this group, that we spoke about earlier on, of course, the Spain and Germany group.
Yeah, just quickly, updates are coming from the game between Germany and Costa Rica. It's 1-1. The Germans looking like they will have to go home for the second World Cup running. I can't remember the last time they actually won a World Cup game. 2018, it was at the same position. Now it's looking like they might just be going home. It's 1-0 Costa Rica. They've been able to equalize. Of course, Japan and Spain is what we talked about earlier. Is still 2-1. Germany not looking good for them at all at the FIFA World Cup. This is not their World Cup. 2018 was also not their World Cup. Since they won the World Cup 2014, the Germans, they've been struggling. Remember, they will be hosting European Championships in 2024. Maybe that's where they're building up to. Quickly, let's just take a look at how the Moroccans are celebrating because this means a lot to them. For the first time in 36 years, they are through to the round of 16. The last time they were in this position was 1986. It's been a long time coming, but for the Moroccans, they are really happy that they are here. I mean, the celebrations is palpable. It's something that you look at and you're like, you just want to enjoy with the Moroccans because they've been able to make it to the round of 16. Austin, these celebrations, right there in Morocco, those who went to watch the game, I mean, the excitement, it's something that, yes, they've been dreaming of it. They've been thinking about it. Remember, Coach Walid is actually, a coach from the home front. Yes, French Moroccan, born in France, but he played for the national team as a defender. He's just 47 years old. He coached the Moroccan team that won the Champions League. And after that, he was drafted to coach their national team. And he's been a success for him. I mean, not losing at the group stage, 2 wins and a draw. Successful one, you will say, for him right there.
I love it, and not just, the Moroccan coach. I think the 5 African teams, they've passed a strong statement that their different football federations should believe more on homegrown coaches. I think Nigeria should also peep into that lesson, because with what Morocco they've done, they will be wondering. There's no point looking outside again. Even Tunisia that failed to make it out to the round of 16, they went down with a fight. They defeated the defending champions and they had an own-based coach also. I think we need to go on a quick break. We'll stay with this celebration, Cecilia. When we come back, we'll talk more, particularly about African teams at the World Cup and their chances of qualifying to the round of 16. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Of course, we'll talk about Belgium and Croatia right now. A golden generation that everyone has been talking about. Well, they're old now, but then no more golden for them because the team ranked second in the world. They are out of the FIFA World Cup. For Belgium, they finished third in the last World Cup. Croatia, of course, finished second. And now you have Croatia going in. For Belgium, they are out. Romelu Lukaku had a good time. 3 chances that he missed. He came on as a substitute. Remember, he didn't start the first 2. The second game, of course, he also came as a sub. First game, he didn't play because of injury. He went into this game with Lukaku being injured. It was going to be managed. But at the end of the day, he just couldn't give them that victory that they needed. And Belgium, they are out. And reports immediately after the game, at the press conference held by the coach, Roberto Martinez, he says, okay, his contract is supposed to expire at the end of this World Cup. So he is leaving his position as their coach. Luka Modric was the one who won this for Croatia in the sense that he was everywhere. He had to defend and do everything he could to ensure that Croatia are staying in Qatar, while Belgium, they are going home. Devastating one for them. I'll come to Hussam here. I mean, for Belgium, coming into the World Cup, people were looking at Denmark, yes, a dark horse. And of course, you also look at the Belgian team because of their performance at the last World Cup. But now, Belgium are out of the FIFA World Cup. What does this portend for a team like this that had so much going on for them because everyone actually tipped them to get a bit far at this World Cup?
I think there are 2 sort of statements that have just been like a dark magic spell on teams. Golden generation and dark horse. Every time we call a team a dark horse, they get knocked out. Every time we say a team has a golden generation, like England 15 years ago, the same thing happens. This Belgian golden generation, I think, look, we do expect them to go far because on paper, they're absolutely brilliant. But when you look at some of these players like Jan Vertonghen, Toby Alderweireld, players who've actually been playing for the same team, the same starting level for about 6, 7, 8 years now. I think they actually haven't refreshed the squad with a few youngsters, players who can actually come in, give you that energy you need, give you that sort of hunger and desire. And of course, we saw news regarding, sort of bus stops in training. And that never helps. That never helps, these type of situations. At the end of the day, the Belgians must feel extremely disappointed. The fact that they're actually knocked out of the World Cup as the second-ranked team, but they only have to look in-house. And I think Roberto Martinez has let himself down, and he's let sort of Belgium down as a whole, because of course they have so many young talents who could have came in, made a difference, made an impact, but he chose to go with the old guard sort of, and the tried and trusted. But the tried and trusted, unfortunately, they let him down. They let him down.
Yeah, I mean, they're out of it. The updates are coming from what the game between Costa Rica and Germany. Costa Rica are coasting home. They want to ensure that even if they're going to go home, they will go on a high. As it stands, Costa Rica 2, Germany 1. Of course, Japan still leading Spain by 2-1. This is getting interesting. When you look at these big names, Germany, former champions 2014. Of course, Spain, former champions also 2010. It's been 12 years since they won the World Cup. And Costa Rica, who lost to Spain opening game 7-0, are 2-1 up against Germany. And Japan and Spain, of course, Japan leading Spain 2-1. Austin, I mean, when football sometimes just, I mean, you're speechless because you don't really know how to comprehend this. Yes, I mean, they say if you need it more, you win. But somehow, smaller teams, I mean, people say you don't have small teams when it comes to nations of countries playing football. But you can't compare Germany and Costa Rica or even Japan and Spain because of the firepower. Talk about their league. Talk about the players that they have. They're not even in the same league at all. But from this result we are seeing from Group E, it's looking really, really very dicey, Austin.
Cecilia, all I can say is football is crazy. This is unbelievable. It's not just Costa Rica leading Germany. That has now changed things and has turned things around on that Group E table because Costa Rica will now finish in second place. I think Moroccans will be dancing because they would rather like to play Costa Rica than play Spain. So I'm watching the game live, and fans, the Spanish fans, they just can't believe what's happening in that game between Costa Rica and Germany. It just tells you that football it's unbelievable. I don't know how to analyze this anymore. So let me give it to Usam Salah. Usam, what's going on?
I wish I can explain it any better than you can, brother. This is just craziness. Before the games actually started tonight, I was speaking to football fans and we were questioning this a little bit, and people are going like, you guys do know that Japan and Costa Rica could go through together. And then people will go like, are you crazy? Spain and Germany. And as we actually sit here 15 minutes away from Japan and Costa Rica actually leaving this group, this is just unbelievable scenes, and exactly what Austin said is true. The Moroccans are sat at home thinking, we are now going to be playing Costa Rica in the round of 16, which is just absolutely insane to even think after the first game in which they lost to Spain by 7-0 that they're actually going to go progress as things stand is absolutely crazy.
All right, I mean, it's getting more interesting because Germany, Kai Havertz just gave them equalized. Austin, a quick one on the updates that we have right here on your screen. Costa Rica 2, Germany 2, Kai Havertz scoring that. So it's 2-2. So as it stands, Germany is still bottom of that group. All they need right here is a win. If they can pull this off, they will be in the round of 16. Of course, Spain also need to get something out of the game against Japan. This is looking, I don't know how to describe it. Okay.
It looks like it's Costa Rica that is doing the job for Spain. The Spanish side must find a way to either get into this game against Japan or go on to win it, because Germany coming back now with 2-2 at the Albight Stadium means Spain will advance and Costa Rica will finish in third. So for Spain to secure their position, they must try not to lose this game against Japan.
They just have to try not to lose the game. Let's leave that. We'll still bring you updates once the goals start coming in. Quickly look at the games for tomorrow. Talking about Group G, where the big one obviously is Ghana and Uruguay. Also, you have Cameroon up against Brazil, Serbia up against Switzerland. Brazil already through to the round of 16. Against Cameroon, Cameroon need a win to see if they can get into the round of 16. Serbia and Switzerland will also be in action. From what this group is looking like, yes, it's a tough one. Brazil topping by 6 points. And of course, Switzerland already have 3 points. Cameroon just have a point. And same thing with Serbia. So they need a win to get into the round of 16. Hossam, I mean, this group is looking really, really dicey because Brazil, yes, they're on, but Switzerland, Cameroon, Serbia, they still stand a chance. That's the thing about this FIFA World Cup. It's hard to predict. It's hard to actually see. It's difficult to look at the teams, the names. Switzerland, you could easily say, oh, Switzerland can actually go through. But from what we've seen so far, I mean, football happens, and it's hard to actually predict the team that will go through. Against Brazil, with Neymar injured, of course, even with the game, the last game they played against Switzerland, they had to give it their all for them to be able to make it to the round of 16 with a game to spare. Against Cameroon, yes, they have nothing to lose. Cameroon has so much to lose. If they don't win that game, they'll just go back home, like make at the group stage. What are their chances against the Brazilian national team?
I think this might be a little bit similar to the Tunisia-France sort of scenario, in which the Brazilian manager just decides to rest a whole lot of players, maybe play with his B or C team, as some of them as well call it. So he may actually want to play with sort of players who have actually been on the bench and maybe not gotten an opportunity to play at the World Cup yet. The issue for Cameroon is not only they have to win, they need the other result to go their way as well. So the qualification for them might be a little bit more difficult, as we saw as well with the Tunisia sort of scenario. They beat France and they still didn't make it through. So I think that one is a bit more difficult. But you never know in football. If we go with the underdog story, then they might as well make it out of the group, just like everything we're watching today.
Austin, I mean, Cameroonians, indomitable lions, they've been having... they've not been having a good run, especially that 3-3 against Serbia. They could have won that. When you do that, to give yourself a chance. But from all indication, after scoring those 3 goals, it's looking like they may just go out at the group stage. With Brazil, I mean, coming into this World Cup with the best team in the world. Their first 11, second 11. I mean, make 2 national team. I mean, some countries don't even have, the luxury of the second 11. I mean, imagine, Gabriel Martinelli actually sits on the bench.
So, Cecilia, the numbers don't look good for the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. And I think they put themselves in this situation. Don't even talk about the game against Serbia. Talk about the first game against Switzerland. They had every opportunity to seal that game. At first half, the major highlights were all for Cameroon. They just couldn't take their chances. And then right into the second half, Brilliant Bolo got an opportunity and then sealed victory for Switzerland. And that's football for you. When you create chances, you must take them. And for Cameroon, it now goes beyond what is even happening to their campaign. They were supposed to also win the game against Serbia. They didn't win it. But again, man management has been a problem. Andre Onana leaving the Cameroonian camp is not good for their World Cup campaign. Whatever the situation is, they should have found a way to handle it. That's your first choice goalkeeper. I mean, the World Cup is massive, whatever the situation, because you need everybody. There are players in that team who would like Andre Onana. I know they can come out and say they will play for country, they will play for pride, they will play as a team. But you losing your first choice goalkeeper, and with the ugly news stories making the round, Cameroon, I think, just put themselves in a very difficult situation because me, you, and Usam will not stay and analyze that they will beat Brazil. It's difficult. Even if Brazil gets to bring players from Corinthians back home to come and play this game, they would want to impress. It's the global stage, it's the World Cup. And with what has happened with France, look, it's all about data mining. They want to control the media narrative. So they don't want people to say they lost to Cameroon going into the round of 16. So they want to go out there to win. After Group G is Group H. So let's talk about Ghana and Uruguay. Usam, I was reading somewhere, and it says it goes beyond the football match, that somebody needs to let the Ghanaians know that they have an opportunity to pay back.
I love games like this. I love games that mean a lot more than football. I have a few Ghanaian friends, and we've been speaking a lot recently on this game, and they've been telling me, Hussam, this is the game. This is the game. This is the game that they want revenge for. Of course, we know what happened in that 2010 FIFA World Cup. And Luis Suarez actually came out in the press conference and actually added gasoline to the fire. He made the fire even worse. He came out and he said, I didn't miss the penalty. So that he's saying, it's not really my fault that the Ghana didn't make it through. So this game means a lot more than football. It means pride. It means restoring pride as well after what happened in that World Cup in South Africa in 2010. And the best part is Luis Suarez, the culprit of what happened in 2010, still plays for Uruguay. So Ghana actually have a opportunity here to knock Uruguay out from the World Cup, and they themselves progress as well. Let's not forget, if Ghana win, they actually make it through to the next round. So it's not even just a revenge; they make it through to the next round, and they actually achieve one of their targets. And I think the Ghanaians have been playing absolutely fantastic football at this World Cup. Actually, gave us one of the games in the tournament earlier on when they played South Korea and they won 3-2, one of the games of the tournament, hands down. So you never know in football, but games that mean a lot more than what happens on the pitch, I live for these moments. I live for them.
Totally live for it. Also, I love upsets. My colleagues will tell you. Cecilia, I don't know about you, but I think Ghana needs to bring out everything they have tomorrow and ensure that they win that one and get to the round of 16.
Yeah, I just hope that die-hard spirit that they had when they played against Super Eagles of Nigeria right here in Nigeria in Abuja, I hope they can bring in that, because they understand, they knew what was at stake at that time, and then they had to do everything possible to beat the Super Eagles right here in Abuja, in Nigeria. They picked that ticket to the World Cup. Now, this is the time for them to also have that same mentality. I love what the coach Ado has been talking about the fact that they have to leave everything on the field of play. They have to go all out and ensure that they get that victory. If they can do that, of course, they will be in the round of 16. Right now, the ball is in their court. All they need, they have 3 points already, not just one. They are on 3 points. If they can beat Brazil, then they will be in the round of, if they can beat Uruguay, if they can beat Uruguay, they will be in the round of 16. Let's take a listen to the coach of the team, Ado, and also Thomas Partey talking ahead of the game against Uruguay. How important it is for them to actually win this, especially looking at what happened in South Africa 2010.
Surely it's not a normal game because the public is making it a different game, this is sure. And yeah, but for me it's a normal game. It's a normal game, and we want to qualify for the next stage, and we surely want to win. But if it wouldn't be Uruguay, no matter who it is, we want to win and want to have a good game. And for us, what happened 2010 is very, very sad, but we can't change it, and we're looking forward, and we want to win this game, no matter how.
What happened some years ago will be always a history that is in our mind, but this is a total different game. We have different players, different quality, and they have a lot of quality players with a lot of experience. We just have to work harder and try to, get what we want to get.
Yeah, it's a very interesting group. Portugal already through to the round of 16. They are on 6 points. Of course, Ghana on 3 points by virtue of the fact that they were able to beat South Korea. For Uruguay, they are just at the bottom. They have 1 point from that group. So that group is looking like Portugal and Ghana. What Ghana needs to do is to beat Uruguay. And if they're able to do that, they will be in the round of 16. Ball is in their court right now. Win your game, and of course, you're into the round of 16. I mean, Husam, a quick one on the Ghanaians. We've seen what they've been able to do, so far, at the FIFA World Cup. And if you take your mind back to what happened in 2010, it's more like a grudge match for the Ghanaians. And they understand that they need to get this one out of the way for them to be able to get into the round of 16. Is it possible for the Ghanaians to actually make it to the round of 16?
Absolutely. Not only is it possible, I'm also backing them to make it into the round of 16 for two things. First of all, I think Uruguay have played absolutely horribly in this tournament so far. They just, the team overall, we spoke earlier on Belgium with the whole golden generation. They've got players like Suarez, Cavani, Muslera, Caceres, who actually were there in 2010, 12 years ago. And these players still actually do play today. Even the captain, Godin, is still on the pitch. I think Ghana is a lot more youthful. They're energetic. They can play football. They've proven that. They have actually one of the stars of the tournament so far in Mohamed Kudus. Of course, we've seen him even linked to big clubs. He's been absolutely incredible in this World Cup. And I really do think that the Ghanaians will beat Uruguay. And I think it's due to two reasons. I think it's due to Ghana's actually incredible performances at the World Cup so far. And also, we've got to look from Uruguay's perspective. From Uruguay's perspective, in the first two games against Portugal and against South Korea, they've just not played at the level we actually know and have seen from Uruguayans before. And even the Uruguayan national team is always known for grit and fight and determination. And the players, some of these players just can't give it anymore. The likes of Cavani, Suarez, Godin. These are players that we actually watched at this tournament 12 years ago. So I think it's time to move on. Once again, it kind of relates to the Belgium thing. And finally, the whole grudge thing. You see, for the fans, we can all sit here and we could talk about grudges and all that. But from the Ghanaian players' perspective, they cannot think of it as a grudge match. They must think of it as a footballing match, 11 versus 11. How can we go out there on the pitch and beat the Uruguayans? And after that, the press and the media and the fans, let everyone talk as much as they want. But they must play 11v11 and actually outsmart the Uruguayans and beat them in a game of football.
Yeah, interesting.
Awesome.
Interesting to note that Luis Suarez still playing, Edison Cavani still playing, and of course, Asamoah Gyan, he has retired from the Ghanaian national team. A quick one update coming from the game between Costa Rica and Germany. The Germans don't want to go home. They don't want what happened in 2018 to happen again in 2022, and that's why Kai Havertz is doing everything possible to ensure the Germans are staying in Qatar. It's 3-2 right now. 85th minute goal from Kai Havertz. He scored the second goal, and now he has scored the third goal for Germany. So as it stands, the Germans will be going into the round of 16. They will not be going home so early. But we still have so much time to play, plus extra time. That's roughly 10 minutes of football to play. Now, this might just be their longest 10 minutes ever, Austin, because this is looking like how the Germans just want to do everything possible to ensure they will be in that round of 16. Spain is actually going through what this is going to be looking. It's going to look so dicey. I think Spain has equalized, right? Okay, that's what I'm hearing right now. So the Spanish team have actually equalized. Austin, wait, this is looking like, I don't know how to describe this game. It's more like end-to-end game. You understand? Yes, these two teams want to win, and that's why they're doing everything possible to ensure they can get a victory, Austin.
No, it's still Japan 2, Spain 1, Costa Rica 2, Germany 3. But Cecilia, the goals difference that the Spanish team are enjoying is what ensures that they will still qualify if it ends this way, you know. So it's rather unfortunate that Germany, made their campaign go the way it is. It's what it is. They will finish on third on the log with 4 points. The Spanish team will have 4 points, but a superior +6 goal difference. And so it will be Japan on top, Spain, Germany, and then Costa Rica. But I love the fact that Costa Rica, they are fighting, they are pushing, they are believing, and it's not yet over. I see dramatic ending in both games. Before we let Usam Salah go, this Group E, wrap it up for us. How much drama do you still want to see?
How much drama do I want to see? I can never have enough drama. I can never, ever have enough drama. Give me all the drama possible in this World Cup, and I'm taking it. I'm supporting every single underdog. I need a new champion. You know, we all grow up seeing the Brazils, the Argentinas, the Italies. I'm tired of that. I need a new winner. I want a Morocco-Ghana final. Why not? I want craziness at this World Cup. I want as much drama as possible. So I do see drama happening, and I do think the Japanese will make it through. And the Spaniards will make it through, as you actually referenced earlier on, with that 7-0 victory at the start. I think it's kind of hard for Germany to score, 5-6 goals now at the end? I don't see that happening.
With Costa Rica also fighting. I'm with you, bro, for the drama and all the craziness. I must say thank you so much, Usam Salah, for your time on the show. We'll bring you back again to talk about some more of this football craziness. Thank you.
100%. You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor working with you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Usam Salah. So that's it. Football content creator Usam Salah speaking to us from Amman, right there in Jordan. Cecilia, I said it's an unusual World Cup. We're definitely going to see unusual things at this World Cup.
Okay, Germany have scored again. It's 4-3, 4-2 right now. That's what it's looking like. The game between Spain and Japan is still 2-1, but the Germans have scored. They're scoring the goals, trying to see how many goals they can get to have a goal difference. But the way it's looking like, this is really tough because Japan are still topping that group. Spain is second, and of course, Germany, they are third right now. So they need Spain to actually beat Japan for them to go through. Maybe Spain will do them the honors for them to be able to go through. Now, this is becoming more interesting, but I think the Germans left it so late, Austin. They left it so late. I mean, little too late. All they needed to do at the time was to try and beat Japan. They couldn't do that, and now they're doing everything possible to score as many goals they can against Costa Rica. It's like the Germans are going home.
And in a way, you can't, to an extent, blame them. I think you should blame football if you want to. And that's why I totally agree with Usam, who says he wants all of the craziness. Japan, for instance, cannot imagine beating Germany and then not make it to the... Same with Saudi Arabia. How can you start the World Cup so well, beating Argentina, and then football refuses to take them to the round of 16? So Japan, I do not see. I'm watching the game live, and I can't see how Japan wants to lose this game against Spain. And I think the Spaniards, the best they can do for themselves is to hope that, you know, it doesn't get worse than this. But Germany, sadly, it's another exit from the group stage at the World Cup.
It's another exit for them. Austin, we got to leave the studio right now. Just a few minutes to the end of this game. Yeah.
I know. So that's it. It is what it is. Let's keep the conversation going. Talk about the World Cup. You can tweet at us on Twitter or channels _sports. Cecilia, it's like the show shouldn't end, but we've got to go. In London, I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a good night rest.